and going. Here we go. We're live. It's Reds Alert, bringing you all the gossip from Liverpool. We might preview the game a tiny little bit. We've got some games, but we've got some real chat. We're talking about FSG. We're talking about finances. We're talking about are Liverpool ruthless enough? I'm joined by JJ, G Keepin It G, and Ish. But first, let's run that intro that we all love. Yes. We've got people joining us, so many people in the comments. We're going to pull you up in a little minute. We're going to say hello to you. But first, I've got to say hello to my three best in the business. We've got Mr. CEO himself, JJ. How are you feeling? JJ, by the way, I apologize for the name. Everyone ignore the name on JJ's side. I did this before I actually knew JJ proper, so it's just a J and a J. But JJ, I apologize. The Jerry James Show. How are you feeling today?
No worries. I'm good, man. I'm good. I'm happy to be on the show again. We haven't done a Red Alert in a long while, so it's good to just be in see all the overlays, the atmospheres, and the production behind us. It's great to be on, man.
Can't wait to get going. Ish, Mr. Captions. I know you've got a little match review boiling, ready for today. How are you feeling? You had a good day?
Day's been long, innit? Day's been very, very long. Obviously, the Tuchel news broke this morning. My work just got dashed to one side. I was on Twitter. I'll be so real. I was on Twitter most of the day. Hit 4 o'clock. Bare shit started coming my way. I just in a mad rush to get it all done. Obviously, you've got the Reds coming tonight. All I'm saying is tonight, yeah, these man better just not embarrass me, innit? Like, not again. Listen,
not tonight. Like, you can't. G, tonight. By the way, TikTok sensation, G. I have to plug you as well. You know what I'm saying? I'm saying CEO, I'm saying Mr. Captions, TikTok sensation, G Keepin It G, the resident Mr. Grumpy at times. How are you feeling, G? You good? You ready to go?
Oh, I'm definitely ready to go, especially after that intro. Let's go. Let's get it cracking.
Go indeed.
You know, Ash, I want to take credit for that, for TikTok sensation. I feel like I'm the one that coined that phrase, and I do want some credit. I mean, you're using it now more than me.
You know what I feel like, G? I feel like JJ, when you come famous, he's going to be like, you know what? I was your manager from day one. Like, I plugged that stuff.
Man's going to be sending checks and that for his front door. Listen, not even reading the message. Just be like, listen, you owe me X, Y, Z.
Yeah.
Not only that, he'll be so clear. I'll be outside the AXA training ground and what's it called, Anfield, selling T-shirts saying TikTok sensation.
Guys in the chat, please do not listen to anything that these people say. Let's get it cracking.
He loves it, really. He's even coined phrases for like his followers, like the real G's. That's what they become when they first start following him. Then he's got the OGs, the ones who were there from the beginning. He's got it planned out. The future's bright for the TikTok
young G's for the new kids. Yeah, new kids on the block.
That's it. But we've got so much to go through on today's show. We want to get going, but we have got start, bench, sell. We've also got higher or lower, a little game we're going to bring to you today. But first, let's get in there. Let's get over to the comments. Let's say hello to some people because there's so many in. It's madness. All right, Luke's just saying Sean Doc. Everyone in the comments getting to know each other as well. I love it. Evening, gentlemen. How are you? Says Mr. James the Brain, who's had a very eventful day at LFCW today, interviewing the ladies. That's to come soon. What's good? LFC Future Dane, Sadler, everyone, Tiga. There's so many people. I can't pull you all up, but Sean Doc is saying, Remy, where you at? Because this show is for you, which leads me on nicely. G, today we want to talk about FSG. We've seen Tuchel getting sacked. He got the boot. He got the bin. Liverpool are in much better form than Chelsea, if we're being honest. Do you think FSG and Klopp, nice little match? If Klopp was at Chelsea, do you think Klopp would potentially be out the door by now?
Oh, 100%, man. We already know. Like, we know how Chelsea operate. We've been operating like this for the last 20 years. The only difference now between now and the last 20 years is they change ownership, but everything else is the same. Still sacking managers, still we maybe knee-jerk reactions to certain results and stuff like that. But 100%, if Klopp had been at Chelsea, Man City, maybe United, I don't think he'd still be there. I don't think he'd be there as long as he has been, to be fair.
JJ, do you think that, would you like an ownership model like Chelsea's? Would you like to see managers come in and go in so much? Because if you look at it, the success, they get trophies, but they just don't have that affiliation, do they, with the manager? They don't have the love. Because remember, that's what Liverpool are based on. Love and emotions and fist pumps at the end of the game.
Yeah, I mean, that's the problem, isn't it? It's the grass is greener type of way of thinking. And I mean, yeah, we do get the kind of the success behind it, but then you don't really see players develop. You're then reliant on players hitting the ground running straight away. You wouldn't get the kind of your Trent Alexander-Arnold or so. To be fair, when you think about it, the likes of Reece James, Mason Mount, Tammy Abraham, as of late, only came through because Lampard was at the helm.
Yeah.
When Sarri was there, there was no rooting for them at all. If another big manager came in, there'll be no route because ultimately it's their career on the line, isn't it? So if they've got the money to spend, they're just like, yeah, I want this player, that player. I'm not going to go and take a chance. So it's a difficult one. Considering the success as of late, is it really successful? I don't know. I mean, when you look at it over the course of a year, like over the course of like 10, 20 years, then of course they've been fantastic. But as of the last 5 years, I know they did win the Champions League, but it doesn't feel like they actually did. It's something that gets forgotten about. So it's a difficult one. I guess it's pick your poison, I guess.
It is. And speaking of poison, Sean Dock saying Chelsea are poison. Revolving door of managers, no history. Ish. It could be coming though soon. Potter ball to Stamford Bridge. You're a big fan of Potter, innit? But Ali is saying, I wanted Potter as our next manager. I'm fuming. Is it the right move for him?
It's the right move for Chelsea. Let me say that first. It's a very good move for Chelsea. I think Potter is an excellent coach, very smart guy, track record of improving players, implementing different systems. But for him, as a young manager, I'm not too sure because I can't see a Chelsea manager there for 4 or 5 years, a part of any sort of project or plan or anything like that. So in that sense, I don't know because he's still young in it. This is his first biggest job, or will be his first big job. After Chelsea, where do you go? You see man like Sarri kind of bouncing around Europe. Jose's been bouncing since he had those 2 spells at Chelsea. He's been bouncing around from here to United to Roma to Inter. So Potter's got to be careful with it. Potter's got to be very careful because I can't remember the last time a Chelsea manager A, left of his own accord, or B, was there for like a 4 or 5 year stretch. So it's going to be one where he's going to have to win something every other year, pretty much. You get a year off, and then the next year they want to see something. And like JJ was saying, even though they haven't been that successful recently, they still pick up an FA Cup here and there, a Champions League here and there, Europa League here and there. So it's like some way, somehow they always eat. But for me personally, that's not how I want my cup to be run. But as a Chelsea fan, I like it.
Do you think Chelsea are kind of looking at, all right, maybe we build now for the future. We've got rid of Tuchel because it wasn't working. Something's obviously wrong. But now, Todd Bowley, Roly Poly and Custard coming in, and then you've got a new manager coming in. If you choose Graham Potter, that could be a project. They might be saying, right now, this is a project. We're going to put faith in you. We're going to see how far you can take us and see what you can build. Don't know.
Do you know what it is? Though? Just quickly, Ash. Like, they're in a similar predicament. Not not as bad, but you see how Arsenal was just a madness where Arteta came in, just managers from all different eras. Chelsea has still got man from Conte. Got Sarri players, Lampard players. So before Potter can even begin to think about having long-term success, they got to get rid of a load of players first. So it's going to be a mad job. It's going to be a mad job.
Yeah. Ali A is agreeing with us. They're saying Todd B wants to give the next manager time. Is that the blueprint now in the Premier League? Is it time? If you trust the manager, for example, Potter, track record at Brighton, good to get the best out of his team. but he's not won any trophies yet. He's not performed at the highest level with the best players in the world. Is that the blueprint? Look what Man United have done. Tried to fix quick fixes. Liverpool brought Klopp. That was a long thing. Everyone who's had success has done that route of getting the manager in and longevity. Do you think that's the right way forward for Chelsea now?
It probably is, because to be honest, only because there's not that many great managers out there anyway. So it's not like we can just keep picking a new manager kind of thing. And Graham Potter, obviously, he's not what people would call like an elite manager, just because he hasn't been able to prove himself. So obviously, if he does move to Chelsea, this might be that time to potentially prove himself. And as Ish said, like, he's got a track record of improving players, playing good football, implementing new systems and things like that. So it could be the way. And you got to remember, they're up against the best manager, in my opinion, in world football, in Pep Guardiola. So when you're up against him, you got to understand that you need to implement it in a whole different way, because he is so great. Do you know what I mean? So, yeah.
I agree. Big up everyone in the comments as well. Please hit that like button. Just do it. Hit like. In the caption, we've got the people who are with me today. Their links are in the caption. Make sure you follow them. But we're here to talk about one thing. FSG, spending the money, the revenue, the income, the expenditure, comparing it to the other big six teams, because we need answers, right? We need answers. So let's talk about it first of all. Liverpool, it's come out this week that potentially higher turnover than Manchester United for the first time in our history, 602.1 million. But how much of that is being invested in the club? Off surface value, JJ, when you look at it, 602 million. I can say now 2% has been spent on the transfers, which is mad. Do we invest enough in the squad, or are we just a cash cow that's kind of run like a business and they don't really think about the players and the manager and the fans?
I think when you look at it, I think it's the latter, isn't it? It's more to do with business. It's more to do with the growth and success of the business. Now, of course, performances on the pitch do benefit and help the cause, but that's not the, and we'll get into it, but just on the surface, it's not the biggest kind of revenue maker for the club. So it's not necessarily the biggest target for the club. Now, we've seen Liverpool as a club has developed a lot since FSG's purchase back in 2010 or whatever. And what you've seen is there has been investment, not necessarily into the squad, but into the club. So the ground, the training ground, the Nike deals, all these types of things that essentially build up the commercial value of the club. Now, the issue we've got as fans, we don't really care about that stuff. We care about the football side of a football club. Clearly, 2% isn't enough. If you're talking about a percentage of 600 or 6 billion or 600 million, it's surely not enough. We're talking about not even. I mean, you could even get to 5%. 2% is 5% would be the difference between us getting Arthur or another midfielder, highly touted by a lot of Liverpool fans this summer.
Literally, innit? That's the difference. 5%. You ain't even seeing that. Liverpool have turned over the most profit out of these clubs. But G has brought the facts with him today. So, G, we want to take a look over the past 5 years where Liverpool have potentially spent that money, where it's came in. So let's have a look at Liverpool's use of those funds. Let me just remove the comments for now. We'll get to the comments in a second. So if you look at the use of these funds, we've got 1.4 billion. So this is all in million, by the way. So we've got 1.4 billion on wages. We've got 497 other expenses. I'd love to know what other expenses are. I like how they've put other expenses in there just to kind of like,
sounds hella funny.
That
sounds mad. That's a buy one get free thing.
Yeah. Buy one get one free to Disneyland and FSG with a Boston Red Sox. Player purchases 637 million. That's across 5 years as well. You're looking just over probably 120 million a year on average. But that's not to take into consideration the money we've got from transfers, which we're going to look at in a minute. Capital expenditure, 132, owner loans, interest, and then increase in cash balance. G, when you look at that, which part of that worries you most, and which part are you like, oh, I didn't know that. That surprised me.
Okay, the other expenses, I need to know what that other expenses is first and foremost, because that's sounding super dodgy. The wages is what kind of surprises me, considering how tight we are with giving out money as it is to players. The fact that we spent, give or take, just over twice the amount on wages as we do the player purchases, I'm looking at thinking, okay, fair enough. Then you've got obviously the player purchases being 637 million. You're sitting there thinking to yourself, Jesus, who are we buying in this last 5 years that it's costing us this amount of money? And it's just, but the player wages is the one that really, because as we know, obviously there was this haggle with obviously Mo Salah and his contract during the summer, and then he finally signed a new deal. But we had to, let me not say it's not official, but we can probably all guess one of Mane or Salah had to go. They couldn't both stay, especially if they both wanted, kind of a big wage. But then you think about all the players like Naby Keita, Oxlade-Chamberlain, when we had Lallana, James Milner, there's probably more I can keep reeling off. How much are we paying these? What's the word I want to use without being rude? Underperforming, underachieving players. How much are we paying these guys?
Bums. Say it right,
bums, isn't it?
Now, perfectly, that the fact that even Mark A just said that about the wages are heavily incentivized.
Yeah,
I think Tottenham do the
saying
same.
It as well.
Yeah, I think Tottenham do the same thing. Go on, JJ.
Yeah, because what it is, because I studied this. It was actually last year. I actually went into the wages and stuff, and what it is with Liverpool is a lot of the players get base wages. So, for example, Mane's base wage was whatever 80, 90 grand or whatever, right? But his incentives, depending on if we win the Champions League, if you win the Premier League, if he gets this amount of goals, all that type of stuff, means that the overall package is actually bigger than we think. So Salah, for instance, what he was fighting for was not a total package of around 350. He was surpassing that already with the incentives that he was getting, because his individual incentives he was smashing every year, because he was top goal scorer every year. We have done relatively well in terms of where we're getting to, the fact we're getting into the Champions League, the fact we won the Champions League, won the Premier League. The issue is that at the age of 30, his team decided, if we don't go and get it, this is going to be my last paycheck. I want guaranteed money.
Yeah.
And what Liverpool have done incrementally, if you look at from when FSG came up, from when Klopp came in and moved on, the wages have increased year on year. So when Keita's brought in, he doesn't come in at the same level that Gini comes in. Even though Gini's a more important player, he comes in at a higher, do you know what I mean? And what happens is that when Gini then renews, he goes above Keita. Do you understand? And that's how they operate the business model, which means that expenditure in terms of wages is where the majority of our money goes into. So when Liverpool usually were before were very much a sell-to-buy club. So it was just what we would have seen probably maybe 5 years ago was our sales were higher than our wages because we were selling our players for a lot of money. Now what's happened is that Liverpool for the first time, and Klopp as a manager for the first time, is able to keep all of his top players. But it means that the wages that they're on have to be increased, because normally a Van Dijk or whoever looks around and is like, I'm the best in my position, I'll only be paid as such. And that's just how it works. It's got its benefits, but it also has its cons, because as we're seeing now, how much money do you need to be incentivized when you've done everything? And that's the problem. And it works when you're a team that's quite hungry, that that is new on the block, because you know what I mean, telling like an Arsenal, look, you're gonna come here, but if you win this, you're gonna get this amount of money. That's an incentive, isn't it? To go and perform, to stay fit, to run yourself into the ground, because once you get this, there's all this. Your family's set after life, and a lot of them are set anyway. But it means that you can achieve greater things, and that's the problem we got at Liverpool, unfortunately. Now
it is so true. I've pinned this up as well, JJ, because what you're saying, It's so true about the incentives, but also just keeping people on the wage bill at the club. What's Adrian doing, Ish? Like, Adrian's there. We've got Carrier's still there. We've got
Don't ask me about
Oxlade
this, brother.
Chamberlain still there. We've
You
got
don't ask me about this, brother, at all, man.
all these people. This adds to that wage bill as well, doesn't it? Because these people aren't just on like 20k a week. We've got these people on 60, 80. Ox is on 120k a week. He's in Wonderland. Like I've said, Alex in Wonderland. It's madness.
Listen, we're playing a very dangerous game, you know. We're playing a very dangerous game. Like, we've not signed a midfielder on a permanent deal for like the last, was that 4 or 5? I think it was like last 8 windows before Arthur came in on loan. So we're getting to a situation now where, as much as we might think we're being savvy in the last few years by cutting corners here and there, bro, next summer we're going to need 3 midfielders. So as much as everyone thinks we're going to go and blow 100 million on Jude Bellingham, that's all well and good. But then we've got a Milner who's going to be well. I hope Milner's gone at the end of the season. Naby's going to be gone. Ox is going to be gone. So it's just like, while we've not spent all these years and people think that we're being greedy by crying out for new players, you got to speculate to accumulate. You can't let it go and go and go and go and go.
Do you think those players will actually go? You know what Liverpool are like. Do you think all 3 of those players are going to go? Because we're not going to sign 3 players.
They're all out of contract, isn't it?
Yeah.
Anyhow, any one of them renews their contracts.
I bet you at least one of them will. At least one of those 3 are going to get a renewed contract.
If anything, I think we try and sell one in Jan. I can't see any of them renewing. Maybe Milner
selling this Cater. I think Cater's the one. I think Cater's the one we sell.
You get money back.
That's the one we sell in Jan.
Yeah,
I say we get money back. We won't get money back off him, but we'll get like a nice little fee. So maybe we can put that somewhere else, but nobody else. We'll see. But I want to pin up the wages because we're talking about wages. I want to talk about the wages because when you look at this, again, it's the last 5 years. Man City top of the list, then Man United, then Liverpool. If you look at that list, before you saw it, where would you have put Liverpool?
Below Chelsea, at least. At least below Chelsea. Maybe
even below Arsenal when you think about it, considering how much of Aubameyang and Ozil we've been on.
Yeah. When did Ozil leave?
3 years ago.
Yeah, 3 years.
Oh, wow.
Ago.
Okay. Well then, yeah. All right. Cool.
That's mad.
Yeah. I thought it was longer, to be fair, but 3 years. Cool. So you're saying Aubameyang, Ozil, and obviously they've still got players like Xhaka and stuff who I'm assuming are on pretty decent wages there at Arsenal anyway. So probably 1, 2, 3, 4, 5th potentially.
Yeah.
Above Spurs anyway at the bare minimum. I can definitely say that with a fact. Because Spurs ain't got no one to spend money on, and as it is.
Are you calling Spurs cheap, G? Is that what you're saying?
No, I'm just saying they ain't got no good players like that. So who are they spending money on?
Apart from Kane and Son, really? No.
Ndombele was on mad wages. Ndombele was on a madness.
You know what it is? London living wage, isn't it? That man are always trying to finesse
like that. You know like that. But it's like when you look at it, obviously you can look at this 2 ways. You might look at it and say, but look, we're below the Manchester clubs as we would probably expect to be. But then I look at it and think to myself, bloody hell, as JJ said, like, yes, we're heavily incentivized, based on winning and top goal scoring, all these kind of little things. But at the same time, you have to start asking yourself these questions as you pinned up there, Adrian, the Oxes, the Caters. And I'm not actually too fussed in terms of the wage, so to speak, how much they're getting. I'm more concerned with the fact that they are still here receiving this wage. So it's not like you could have said, all right, we'll use Oxlade Chamberlain, for example. He'd been here for 2 years on whatever he's on, but then we signed him to a new deal off the back of an injury. And it didn't make any sense. He had played a few games after coming back from the very first major injury. Then we, for some reason, said, you know what, let's keep him, sign him to a new deal. He's now on 120. You've then continued to keep this player, throughout the entire summer. But I would have thought to myself, you know what, maybe we'll try and offload him. I know that West Ham were looking at him, but I think the money was just too low for Liverpool. But now you're going to lose him on a free anyway. So you should have just taken the money from West Ham, especially for a player who's going to be cropped for the majority of the season. And you think to yourself, Adrian, the amount of youth players, I'm assuming all of these numbers are also including everybody who plays for Liverpool, so to speak, in terms of maybe up to like the academy, maybe, I don't know. But again, I'm thinking about some of these players that we're signing to new deals. And I'm just thinking, wow, you're signing a lot of trying to figure out the word again, underachieving and underperforming players to quite relatively big deals that, let's put it to you this way, Ox is on 120k at Manchester City. Let's just, I don't know off the top of my head, but what player do you think would be roughly earning around about 120k at Manchester City? Kind of thing.
Probably Bernardo Silva, Gundogan.
Yeah.
No, they'll be earning more.
Quality.
Yeah, they're probably. I'm probably looking at like a. Who just came in the other day?
I wouldn't be surprised if Foden's in and around that. I don't know if he's renewed his contract,
or maybe like a Calvin Phillips or something.
Yeah, Calvin Phillips. Yeah.
Cool. So you're looking at players obviously of better quality. Now, obviously, that's all subjective anyway. So, you know, at one time, Ox did look like the player that we probably needed in the midfield, but he's obviously proved that he's just not that player. But again, like they say here, like, look, Milner leaving. If he wants to remain, Klopp will keep him here. Why? We don't need to add more money to our wage bill. And, well, sorry, we don't need to add his money to our wage bill.
Do you know what the problem is, though, G? The thing is that Liverpool are in a predicament now because the way the Moneyball system works, the reason why it works in American sports is because A, there's a wage cap, so every team has got the same wage cap, and B, there's this kind of preconceived notion that teams go through a cycle. So what you see is the Lakers or the Golden State Warriors will go through a cycle. They drop off the Milwaukee Bucks, and I'm talking, sorry if you don't watch basketball, so you might not get it, but the Milwaukee Bucks, they go through a cycle. They then drop off. You've now got another team. So the Boston Celtics, they look like they're going through a cycle. Yeah. And that's what happens because of the way it works with the draft systems and the way you acquire players. Liverpool, they've got a predicament because let's say, hypothetically, Bellingham's the man that Liverpool want. Yeah. Bellingham looks at the club and says, all right, I'm coming in. Klopp's talking to me about I'm going to be a first teamer, this and that. I'm so important. Keita's on 140. Ox is on 120. I think I'm much better than them. I want to be on 250. Yeah. But Bellingham, you're 19 years old. That's the price. And that's the problem you've got right now. And it's why when you look at the signings that Liverpool have made as of recent, the younger players, and it's after, to be fair, after Keita and Fabinho and stuff, you get Nunes. Nunes, we pay a massive price for him. How much is he on? 70, 80k. Jota, he renewed his contract just now, but how much was he on? 70, 80k. These types of wages are wages that some players at West Ham get, if not more. Yeah. And the problem you've got now is Liverpool are trying to improve the squad without having to pay these extortionate wages and pay the big fee. And that's the problem you've got because do we go and keep what we've got and incrementally increase our wage bill, or do we go and smash it with a player and what Liverpool and FSG would say is not guaranteed to work out? Hence, you look at Naby Keita or you look at Ox as an example. So that's the problem they've got because let's say Bellingham stays at Liverpool. Let's say we sign him. He stays at Liverpool for 10 years, let's say. Something mad, 10 years. Let's say 10 years. By the 8th, 9th year, he'd have to be on like about 600,000. Yeah. And he'd be at the age of 26, 27?
That's mad, isn't it? When you look at
it, how does the club warrant signing a player to that amount? And that's the problem. Liverpool, and this is why I'm so very, unless Bellingham's agent just says, you know what, we're going to take a hit in terms of wages, I don't see how, or maybe if we sign him for the wages that, up and around 100, 120 mark, I don't see us getting those types of players. So even your Tchouaménis, because once the wage packet increases, we can't get into this bidding war because you're going to come to us wanting an extension in 2 years after good performances, hopefully. If that's the case, where do we go from there? We've seen it with Salah, how they had to deliberate. It's a tough one. So from a business standpoint anyway. So,
and that's what we're looking at, and we're looking at everything from a business standpoint. It's easy to say we need to upcycle, we need to get midfielders in, but they run this as a business. We know that. But how can they balance that so they can run it as a football club and a business? How can we keep getting better while they keep getting the money in? And that's what we're trying to work out now, if that's going to happen or if it's not. I want to know, first of all, Assad, how are you feeling? Tuchel gone. We want to know how you're feeling about Tuchel.
How you feeling, man?
I want to chat to you.
Go. Let us know.
Come outside, man. I want to chat to you real quick.
Talk to me about
Marquet as well. Big up Marquet, because this is a point that we do need to raise. We're saying Jude Bellingham come to Liverpool for wages, whatever. Jude Bellingham might not be that type of player. There are better projects than Liverpool, where he's still going to get the money as well. Some people might argue now-ish that United's a better project than Liverpool. Some people...
I don't know about that one just yet. Listen, football can turn quickly in it, but let's not forget that the man were waving their Norwich scarves a couple of weeks ago, saying they want to get out there. They're not there yet. They're not.
Let them hear you say that, bro.
The couple things that I think are quite telling with our situation right now. One, I think you can kind of see by the quality of players that we've got. No, we're never linked. None of our players are ever linked to moves away from our club. Like, let's be real.
Yep.
Our fringe players are never ever linked with moves. Not even like a little sniffer of like they might be going here, might be going there. I know we let Origi go to AC Milan, but that was a free transfer. His contract was running down. Minamino, that's a one in a blue moon. Ox, again, never really linked with anyone. Our fringe players are never linked with anyone because they're not that good. They're just not that good, and we're paying them too much. And another thing as well, we're gonna have to, whether we like it or not, spend big one summer. One summer, if you want to stay at the top, we're gonna have to drop 200 plus million in a window, because our whole model of buying Salah for 40 M's, buying Fabinho for 50 M's, that was quite good when you're emerging, when you're on the up. You're trying to get top four, you're trying to chase the title. We've got that now. We're trying to maintain that. So we're not going to be able to attract the players who are maybe 23, 24, who are hungry. What Arsenal are doing now is where we were a few years ago, where they can get players in for 30 to 40 million, put them on 60 to 70 grand a week and say, look, if we get here, you'll get this. If you get that, you'll get that. People already know that we're capable of doing that, and we're capable of paying big money for players. So it's worrying, because we're either going to have to take a step back and try and do the whole cycle again of starting off, getting top four, getting to the title, X, Y, Z. Or, like I said, one window. I'm sorry, FSG, you're going to have to, those other expenses which are unaccounted for, we're going to have to see it. Just drop us 200.
It shows what it is. We need to know.
But the problem you've got, though, is that you have 200 M's that you're obviously going, and obviously you're paying. It's not going to be 200 M's. It's probably going to be at 400 M's, because you're going to have to go and pay wages for all those players as well. And what you're seeing with City, and you look at the Haaland deal, and a lot of people get excited about, Haaland, it was only 50 or 60 M's. That's proper cheap. That package, and that wage package, is the example of why Liverpool will never, ever, ever entertain a Haaland.
Agent fees, Buster's dad a couple, like a 20 million here and there. Like,
and that's where you've got the problem, is that I saw Allier, and big up Allier. Allier mentioned, unless Jude isn't money hungry. It's not about being money hungry. It's about making a good financial decision for yourself, because as a player, your career is short. You have to maximize your potential. You've got to know your worth. So yeah, he's not money hungry in terms of Liverpool have offered him 300, and he said, no, I'm going to Qatar because they've offered me 350. Do you know what I mean? That's being money hungry. The difference is that how can the club warrant putting Bellingham in the same wage bracket as a Salah? Think Salah and Van Dijk at the age of 19. That means he's going to be earning more than Trent. He's going to be earning more than loads of these players. And when you see the types of profile player that we actually get, and the types of player profile that we're actually getting, you know that, echoing what you're saying, Ish, we're doing the cycle again. We're getting the likes of Fabio Carvalho. We're forcing Harvey Elliott to play. We brought in the likes of a Diaz. Good players. But are they the players that are going to take you from 92 points to... No, there's probably going to be a drop-off. Yeah. There's probably going to be a drop-off before you come back up again. And that's what... I have just come to the acceptance now that this is what the club have wanted. This is what Klopp wanted. This is what the club have wanted. So when Klopp's telling us, it's fine, we have midfielders. Yeah, we do have midfielders. In there's midfielders that can play. Are the midfielders as good as X, Y, and Z club? Of course not. But we don't care about that, because we still believe that we can get this position in the league and still challenge to make sure that in 5 years' time we win the league, hopefully, or the Champions League. And that's what it is for me.
And that's a good model, isn't it? When you look at businesses challenging, that's a good model. Because if you look at teams that win, unless you then start to get sponsorships, image rights, television deals, it doesn't really matter. There's not a massive difference in the money you get for winning, the money you get for coming in the final. There's not a big difference that can change your club's life unless you're a lower league club who wins the FA Cup, say. But this is where FSG, they like to compete and just break even, make profits, because they know, don't they, JJ, that that's what the business model is, to get the money in, to keep being able to generate profits as long as they're competing. It doesn't matter if they're winning.
Yeah, and I guess that's the issue we've got as fans then, isn't it? Because there's different, and big up to Zibiri actually spoke about it. There's 5 people pulling on this, on trying to get a piece of this pie from different reasons. And the pie is Liverpool, and we want Liverpool to go in this direction, and the club want Liverpool to go in that direction. And when you think about it, they're maximizing the club. But the reason why you go and do that is to ultimately, at the end of the day, sell in a position of power. So we've got to move away from the types of owners that we've got. They're very, very astute businessmen. I mean, G speaks about all the time. Very, very astute businessmen. They're not in the same ilk as a Qatari sheikh or, a Saudi sheikh, where it's for fun. Roman Abramovich, this was fun. This was, he was a fan running a club, essentially. These businesses are going to operate business in the best way possible in order to do what afterwards? To sell. You go and look at the teams that LeBron James now is looking at and getting shares in, and what FSG are trying to do. They're trying to go and acquire the likes of your AC Milans, your teams in Mexico, because they're trying to build this portfolio. So when they go to sell, it's like, look, this is what we've done.
And that's clear, because FSG are probably, apart from the Cronkies, they're probably one of the only franchises that are doing this. They're going out and they're buying so many teams because they want to keep that portfolio, like you said. You're not going to be interested in... You can't put all your interest in one team then, can you? Like, you're going to be looking elsewhere. The Penguins are the new ones, isn't it? They've got the Penguins coming. That's going to be the focus now. Get the Penguins to the top. Just keep Liverpool ticking over.
That's why, for me, it's so important. And that's why I'm so harsh on Klopp, on Julian Ward, on Pep Lijnders and all of these types of people. Because John Henry, yes, he's the owner, but he doesn't micromanage every little thing that happens at Liverpool. This is a very kind of old school way of running, a business, and the way football's worked, obviously, in the UK. He's a macro manager. He gets the best in quality in terms of the best manager, the best director of football or technical director, Michael Edwards, the best person to do with commercial, this and that. And those are the people that run the day-to-day runnings of the club. He's just the owner. He just sits down once every quarter and sits down and talks about, all right, so where are Liverpool now after this 3 months? And they bring in, the proposal. That's how business works. It's not Roman Abramovich sitting up there, or like the Nottingham Forest manager where he watches.
Abramovich wanted trophies, innit? Like Abramovich was hungry for trophies.
Yeah, it was just a flex. He was a fan. It's like us.
The power thing as well. The power thing, innit?
Yeah, that's
like Abramovich was power hungry. Like, he wanted to be the best, and it's that simple. But we say, we don't want our club run like Chelsea. We've got this. We have an affinity with our managers, our players. Do we want that? When we look at how we're playing now, do the Klopp hugs matter to you? Do the fist pumps matter to you? G, did it matter to you?
No, it does. Yo, I don't care about no flipping hugs and all of this stuff. Listen, look, as JJ described perfectly there, like, business-wise, and we've said it, like, we will keep saying it, because I don't want people to think that we're coming at it from an angle of just, obviously, we are fans first and foremost, so we do care more about Liverpool than we do FSG. That's just a fact of every fan of a football team. But the reality is, we also understand how FSG work. So from a business side, brilliant. Look what they've done. Look, bought the club for 300 million. It's worth over 4.67 billion now.
Yeah.
So as JJ said, keep acquiring other clubs. They tried to acquire Cruzeiro in Brazil. Did you get what I mean? Like in Brazil, like why would you go to Brazil to go and acquire a team? Build up that portfolio. AC Milan, build up that portfolio. So as you said, when they go to sell, they've got this massive just abundance of teams, and the teams are worth so much. So to them, they can sell it for God knows how much they could, sell that for. So business wise, great. But the reality is, again, as JJ said, and Ish said, we're kind of in that cycle. It seems like, and the buzzword that's been going around recently is transition cycle, kind of the same thing. So if we're in this transition again, where we're starting again, buying these, cheap players and, hoping that Klopp can develop them and then maybe win a Premier League title in 5 years' time. If that is the actual approach, I think I've reached a point where I don't even know if I want them to actually tell me that's what they're trying to do. I think if I just saw it, then yeah, cool, because it does look like that's what's happening. As you said, Fabio Carvalho, Calvin Ramsey, Darwin Núñez, Luis Diaz in January, Konate before that. These are the kind of players that, yes, in a few years' time, I do expect some of these players to be, good enough players to be able to, maybe challenge for something in the future. But the reality is, I feel like they're banking on what's happened previously, where we first got Klopp, and then we started that cycle, and then it's blah, 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 and then we got to this point. I feel like they're banking on this happening again, whereas other teams within that period of time, your Arsenals, your Tottenhams, your Chelseas, your Uniteds, in this space of time, in this 5-year period, they could, we don't know, hindsight's a wonderful thing, they could catch up. They could easily catch up. It's not like we are blowing away where we're winning, or we're at that point where we can say, oh yeah, you know what, we're cool because we've got a good enough team to be able to do this, that, and the third. At the current moment in time, you can see that these players are starting to decline slowly but surely. Your Hendersons, your Milners, your Thiagos, your Fabinhos, they're going to start declining. So do we have enough? Can we get in a Jude Bellingham? Even if we do get in a Jude Bellingham, we need, as Ish said, we need about 3 midfielders, give or take. So then what happens there? Do you then sacrifice and say, maybe we get Arthur on the 2-year plan deal that we've got added to his loan deal, which is like 30 odd million. Cool, you get Arthur. Bro, I'm trying to think of a reason why the club would then want to go through another cycle. But then I always just keep thinking to myself, it just comes back to what Zabiri was saying. We're not that type of club. We're not a top club of that type of ilk. We are a club who commercially, as we've seen, we've made, was it 600 and whatever it was million more than Manchester United. So commercially, we can kind of maybe still keep doing that. That will probably fade this season / next season if we stay in this kind of position. But then you also run that risk of, if the team do too badly, now you're kind of fucked. Now you're kind of in a bit of a precarious position now, because remember, most of this is banking on the fact that we're competing. So competing, I'm going to assume they would put that into top 4 terms. So finishing in the top 4 at the bare minimum for them is competing.
That's what the revenue's made.
It takes one season to finish out the top 4, and then
this season
it starts looking mad.
That's why I've said, and I've actually posed the question, and I'm not advocating for, oh yeah, we've got to get him gone.
Yeah. I'm not advocating.
But I'm saying, if we don't finish in the top 4, or there's a serious chance where it's looking like, oh, you know what, we still haven't won a game and it's January and we've only won 3-4 games in all comps. We saw what happened with Brendan Rodgers and FSG. And FSG, just like the Americans, will move militant. They'll move militant because their business is more important than Klopp.
Of course.
Yeah. Let's be honest as well, though. Like, if we're looking at Premier League history, how many, because I can only think of one who's successfully rebuilt a squad. And I'm talking about get to the pinnacle, have a big clear out, start again and do it all over again. It's only been Sir Alex Ferguson, because even Arsene Wenger, after they lost their Invincible squad, it was looking weird for a few years. Obviously, they picked up a few FA Cups, but it's only been one manager.
But that was about it. They had to do a Barca B. They had to look to Barca and be like, yeah, we're going to do a Barca beating in the UK and see how that fares.
Yep.
It's scary.
It's concerning. I'm very concerned
It is
because, like I said,
concerning.
we
It
need
is.
one window to go just splash the cash, and we ain't got the owners to do that. So
It's not even a case, though, is it? It's not a case of splashing the cash. It's a case of we just need the quality. We need reinforcements. If you can get them for 10 million, happy days. If you can get them for 20 million, whatever you need to spend, just spend it. We're not saying like go out and spend millions and millions on one player. We need multiple players in order for us to challenge. This comment, I wanted to keep it. I wanted
just
to
quickly,
keep
Ash. That's where it's slightly though, because we've left it so late now. I personally think it's got to a point now where in the next 18 months to 2 years, we're going to need to go big and invest in a centre back to replace Van Dijk to get an A grade. We're going to need to get a big midfielder. We're going to need to get another forward to replace Salah.
Winger, yeah.
Because we've left it so long, it now needs to get to a point where we need a window where we go mad. Whereas if we did it where, like United did back in the day, every season, go and get one piece, go and let one out. Go and get one piece, go and let one out. We haven't done that. So it's now at a point where I think we need like major investment.
Yeah.
So
we let
it's
6
going to be
goal,
expensive.
bring 3 in. We let 5 goal, bring 2 in. Like we never buy more players than we bring in. We never do it. And when we do, G, we actually win things. When we actually bring in more players than we let go, we actually start winning trophies. It's proven.
Funny that.
This is it. Like that's always a coincidence, but it's like the way I look at it is like this. If you let's say we use that analogy there that Ash just said about letting 5 go, bringing 2 or 3 in. The worst thing about that is that's not even a big deal. I don't even mind doing something like that. The problem is, let's say the 5 that you're letting go are of one level. The 3 that you're bringing in are so down here that you can't even see me on the screen. Like it's that low. So you're now thinking to yourself like, well, how long is it then going to take those 3 down here to get to that level? We're waiting 2, 3 for example, we'll use Mane for thing. You got Mane who's left now. Diaz and Nunez are nowhere near Mane's finished level that he's at this current moment in time. Yes, Mane was not world class when he came in, of course not. But obviously throughout time he then became world class. I'm not saying you replace him with Neymar or Mbappe or anything like that, because of course that's potentially even better than what he is anyway. But it's of a very, very extreme level, and there's only a few players out there who could probably replace him that way. But you're replacing these players with hope. Literally, you're replacing these players with just a bunch of hope, praying that Diaz will get to Mane's level, praying that Nunez will get to Mane, Firmino's Firmino at his best kind of level. It's like, I understand when FSG first came in with under Brendan Rodgers, I get that, but we're at the stage now whereby I feel like they've not been able to tweak their model. Obviously, they don't seem like they want to, but they've not been able to tweak and move with the times. Obviously, the market value, the price of today's players are not the same price of yesterday's players. Do you get what I mean? So of course, the valuation is going to continue going up. It's going to, interest is going to, things are going up regardless, but it's almost like we're still thinking, yeah, we can still buy this player for 30, 40 million. And it's going to be the same level of player that you bought for 30, 40 million 5-6 years ago. That's not going to happen. It's just not going to happen because the price of today's players are not yesterday's players. So you need to move. Again, I'm not saying, and this is why I want to keep saying it, I'm not telling you go out there and buy all of, I would love it, of course, that's what I want, but I'm realistic to understand that business and football doesn't really work that way. I'm not saying go out there and buy Neymar, Messi, or Ronaldo, or Mbappe, or even a Jude Bellingham. But are you trying to tell me, between us 4 here and everybody in the comments, are you trying to tell me we could not have found a better midfielder, and no disrespect to him, than Arthur Melo in this space of time, even if we wanted a Chouameni or anything like that for a decent price?
I think the problem, and I just go back to again with Liverpool, is that they've got a problem because if they go and try, and what you're talking about is, look, to go and replace a Mane and get someone of that level, so get someone in that bracket, I'm not even saying his level or just under, you're going to have to go and spend big, and he's going to want to be on big wages. He is, because he's the talk of the town. So do you know what I mean? If we went and tried to get Haaland as an example, or Sancho, or whoever it was, whoever's just under that level, it's going to be a lot of money. It's going to be a lot of money as a package. So the wages and the transfer thing. The model Liverpool have, as you said, it's it's not only from like a model in terms of, oh, we sell, then we buy, and that's how we recoup. They've probably, and just knowing, because I run businesses, they've got their model in regards to what their expenses are going to be fractionally and percentage-wise, and what their outgoings are going to be percentage-wise, and how that works out. So just because the club makes more money than it does, the expenses increase relatively as well, because they will do. And it means that they have more money, but the club, they don't have the disposable income to go and compete and go and get a Tchouaméni, because they do that. They've seen, when we've spent our big money, Naby Keita as an example, how has that worked out?
So is that down to recruitment, or is that the board's fault?
But that's the thing. Recruitment is, and that's why I said, I'm so tough on Klopp, on Julian Ward, on Linders, and all of these types of players, because they're ultimately the players that are sourcing these players. So the players that we're talking, and not only that, it's not about the players, because generally, I mean, look, you've got the elite players, but let's be honest. There's a bag of players that you could interchange, innit? You could just interchange, and it's like you could have Tsimikas and change him out for Cucurella or Chilwell at Chelsea, and it's like it doesn't really matter. Like, look, for how we're raving about Tsimikas, he's basic. He's a basic fullback, innit? He's a basic fullback. Let's just get it twisted. He's basic. The difference is it's the coaching. So what Potter did with Cucurella, it was the coaching. It was the coaching. So that's why now this is where your coach has got to come in. Coach the players that you're given. You coach the players that you're given, because you've asked for these players. How's Naby Keita gotten better?
He's got worse. Let's be real. He's got worse.
But in regards to our players, apart from maximizing their potential in terms of what they can do within a system, under Klopp, who have you looked at and said he was rubbish, but he's improved so much? Or he was like this, but he's become better. The one player that I've seen recently, and I might be wrong, and guys in the chat, everyone, please let me know, is Gomez's passing has gotten better. Joe Gomez's passing has gotten better. But when I think about it, Salah hasn't become a better dribbler. He hasn't. His IQ hasn't become better. He hasn't become a better player without the ball. He's been the same as he has.
Way more productive, isn't it?
He's been way more productive. He's been playing with better players, and the system allows him to be at his best. But who's become better? Thiago hasn't come into Liverpool and said, "Oh, you know what? Tactically, I've just been my third eye's been open. Like I'm seeing the game."
If you look at it like that, JJ, if you think
he said I've been taught how to run. He said I've been taught how to run. So
Did
that's
he say
the issue is.
If you look at it right, you're completely right, and I've never looked at it from this aspect. If you think about technical ability, they digress a little bit. If anything, they go backwards in their development. Look at Keita. He was tearing up trees in the Bundesliga, and then all of a sudden we make him run, he becomes injury prone. Thiago was probably the best midfielder in the world when we signed him. He can't even get in the Spain squad now, because all he does is run. Because he's a runner. He should be the first name on that team sheet. He should potentially be Spain's captain right now. And every time players come in, they're going down.
Exactly, like Assad, I know you're saying, like, so Jerry, you're saying Jurgen Klopp hasn't really improved anyone. No, let me know who he has improved. He's given Trent Alexander a chance. Has he improved defensively? No. Has he just been doing more of what he's done before, which is his passing? Yes. He hasn't gone and made... Look, I don't like Sterling. I don't like him. But the player he was at Liverpool isn't the same player he was at Liverpool. He's not the same player. He's not. You can see the positions he picks up, the types of runs he makes, the passes he makes, his understanding of the game
has gone up levels.
It's gone up levels. So I'm saying with Klopp, this is why I need now. It's not about intensity a la Pep Linders. It's now coach, because that's the only way you can maximize these types of players is look at and be like, you know what? We see Mane here, but why not change him into this type of player? Why not make him better this way? Why not improve his tactical ability. If that was the case, we'd see Trent differently. Like we've seen it. Kimmich was a right back. He started playing in midfield. Lahm was a right back. He played in midfield. Walker now looks accomplished. Walker looks like he's one of the best ball playing defenders that England's ever had. He's coming inside into midfield. He's linking up the play. He's understanding. You're seeing him. Oh, give me the ball here. Give me the ball here. Getting on the half turn. He's not having to just bomb down the right and put in crosses. How has Robbo improved cerebrally?
Not really.
It's all about intensity. And as I've said, once intensity drops, once your efforts drop, and we've been outrun by every team, those are the results.
We got, yeah.
Those are the results. So
I can't even lie. You know what, JJ? You've made me see it so differently.
We look at this like Mark A. Exactly what JJ's saying. Like we saw players improve technically when Buvac was at the club. That's when you would see players technically improve. No, it's all about intensity. It's all about running. It's all about work rate. It's all about pressure.
Guys, make sure you check out. Make sure you check out me and Jerry's stream where we spoke about Buvac and the tactics on the Jerry James show, because we spoke about this in regards to the difference between Buvac and Pep Yinders. And you'd have to remind me, JJ, but I'm sure there was a few people commenting and saying, but look what we've won with Pep Yinders. Look what we didn't win with Buvac. I don't think that was the point of the actual video. Of course, yes, over time, as JJ said, once we're the ones who can outrun everybody and, do all of these things, of course, we've got enough individual quality and the players have been able to be as effective as possible. Salah, and it's even going to hurt me saying it. You're right. His football IQ hasn't gone up. It hasn't. He's just become more effective, more productive in his scoring ability. Mane, kind of the same thing. Jordan Henderson at one point, like the 1920 season, again, hence the reason why you're now seeing probably the real Jordan Henderson, because he's now reached the age where he can't do what he used to do. So we're seeing what he actually is, but effectively because he's getting a bit older. So when you look at it, the coaching, it's actually mad. Like the coaching does play a massive part. So this is where your Klopps, your Pep Yinders, they need to step up, because the reality is, we all know, everybody in the chat knows, the board are not going to change the ways that they do business. It's not going to happen. As much as I'm with Ish, of course, Ish, you already know, I would love us to spend about 200 plus because I know that with 200 plus, if you're smart enough, you could get a very, very good batch of players. But that's not going to be 200 plus. It's going to probably be, as JJ said, 400 million, give or take, because of the wages, the packages, the incentives that you're going to have to add to some of these players to be able to compete at that level with a Manchester City and things like that. So I think it's just, and even I said here, it's not about discrediting Klopp. I think you're looking at it from the point of view of, and this is what annoys me about fans, not just you, Asad, you do annoy me, but fans in general, is that the sheer fact is, you're looking at it from a perspective of, before Klopp came in, we were this team. But since Klopp has come in, we've now been a team who has won every trophy under Jurgen Klopp. That's how every fan, especially ones who are not Liverpool fans, that's how they look at it. The second we criticize Klopp, and we're only criticizing him because we want the club to do well. The second we criticize, but look where you were before when you didn't have Klopp. When you had Hicks and whatever his name is, when you have these guys, you guys were doing nothing. You were finishing in these positions. That's not the point. That
people want us to be grateful for the fact that he took us. But as the fact we're here now, I can now say, okay, cool. What next? How can I try and get to the next levels? Like, I'm not just going to sit here and be like, cool, we won a league 3 years ago, we won a Champions League 4 years ago, whatever, and then be like, just content.
Yeah.
That's not enough for me. Now I've tasted that. I want to know how I can kind of taste that again, kind of just hold on to it. Because if we're being real right now, the league of the season is not, we can win the league this season. It's not done yet, but it's not looking likely in it. It's not looking likely. Champions League is luck of the draw. You don't even need to be the best team to win it. So it can go either way. So it's now looking like a one where it's like, okay, cool. Next season is going to be 4 years or 3 years since we won the league. Then it's just like, what next? Are we going to get to another case where it's like 10 years again, 20 years again, 30 years again? So I personally can never hear that argument of, you should be grateful because Klopp's taking from here to here. I'm very grateful. I love Klopp more than most. But because I love him so much, I want him to do better. I want the club to do better. And
But remember,
not cutting it right now, man.
Like I was just about to say, even just to add to your point, like, remember, we got, like, unfortunately, he's not Sir Alex Ferguson. There was only one ever Sir Alex Ferguson. And as we saw with Arsene Wenger over time, now different factors obviously came into play with Wenger, the stadium, not being able to spend money and things like that. But the reality is, every manager has their sell-by date. So, trying to choose my words carefully.
Ash, please make this a solo, please. I don't want my face to be here while you say something incriminating.
Let's get him up. Come on, G. This is your moment to shine.
If Klopp has reached that sell-by date, if he has reached that sell-by date, unfortunately, he's got to go.
Oh, he said it! He said it! Breaking news, people! Breaking news! So, G, has Klopp's sell-by date done? Is this what you're saying? Is it done?
No. So let me. So I don't want people to get it twisted, and I don't want people to think that that's the kind of angle that I'm coming with. Because at the end of the day, as Ish just said, as much as we can see it's looking unlikely that we will win the Premier League or anything like that, there is that small ounce of possibility that it could still happen. Things could turn around. If he turns it around, brilliant. Then that means he's done something on the training ground, something behind the scenes to be able to do so. Then we will know as fans anyway. Okay, cool. Klopp's a bit more adaptable to the situation. He can show that he is adaptable to certain situations. Because currently, all we have seen is that with Dortmund, with Mainz, he's done it there. With Dortmund, he also done it there. And again, now at Liverpool, we're reaching that point where it's almost that 7-year itch where, all right, after 7 years, we peaked. And that's fine. If we peaked, that's cool. But hear what I'm saying? Now let's get someone who can take us to that next level then. Someone with better coaching skills. Someone who's able, I'm not going to say Graham Potter, so to speak, but if he's someone who is able to improve players to a very, very good degree, for example, and is able to implement different systems and do all of these kind of things, then these are the type of managers that we need to be looking at. And I'm not saying I'm saying Klopp out, but what I am saying is if he can't change, then I am saying Klopp out 100%. If he can't change and this season starts to become it just gets worse and worse and worse and worse and worse, I don't want to hear anything about the injuries. I don't care about your injuries, bro, because you've had enough time and enough to be able to say, yo, like, okay, I've been able to at least change things around. And now we're implementing maybe a new style of play, or like Pep Guardiola has implemented about 3 different styles at Manchester City since he's been there. He has not. Pep Guardiola today, 1,000,000%. If you watch back to how he was when he first joined City, they don't play the same way. He done the same thing at Bayern Munich. When he was there at Bayern Munich, they played a certain way in the first season. As Jerry said, Philip Lahm, Kimmich, these players started moving to midfield. Everyone at first was thinking, how can you have Philip Lahm in midfield? How the hell does that make sense? How can you have Kimmich in midfield? These guys are right backs and left backs, or whatever, they're full backs. But we've been able to put them into midfield, and they have been able to play this whole conducive football where now we don't even know what position that Kimmich actually is. We actually don't know. We call him a right back, but he's a defensive midfielder. He's just a footballer. So if he can't improve these players and he can't change it up, him or Pep Yinders, by the way, I can't just put all the blame on Klopp because Pep Yinders is also a part of the backroom staff.
No, but sorry, because Asad's talking like he's obviously saying, look, man said peaked after 6 games and this, and he's saying, look, I guarantee you at the beginning of last season when you only signed Konate, you didn't have much aspiration for the season. Your team's a game away from a crowd. Don't doubt Jurgen Klopp. It's not about doubting Jurgen Klopp. It's about doubting what you see. Now, yes, we went and got a quad. We almost went and got a quad, but ultimately we didn't. Mm-hmm. Chelsea had a very similar run, and bar the Premier League, which we didn't win anyway, they got to the latter. Was it not semi-final of the Champions League? Quarters?
Yeah.
Semi against
Semis. Argue as well, if that whole thing with Abramovich didn't happen, they were in the title race at the turn of the year.
Yeah.
Oh,
way
you
the
don't
title
even know
was,
how it could have gone. So,
they got to the Carabao and they got to the FA Cup final. And as Assad, you like to say, and you've told us, we only won on penalties, right? We only won on penalties against you guys. So that was the major difference. What it is that as fans, when you look at the way Liverpool have played, you've seen that there's been a regression. And yes, Liverpool will have an aura about them because of what they've done. If you're coming up against that, you will do to a certain extent. But we are not playing at the level we are. As we've just mentioned, we're being outrun by every team that we've played so far. Even in the Bournemouth game that we won 9-0. The stats were exactly the same. The difference was we were just more clinical on that day. And Bournemouth are the worst team in the league. So there's a lot of there have been a lot of problems in regards to players aging. The Henderson debate's been going on for years. Do you know what I mean? It's been going on for years. The debate about, do you know what I mean, not having enough centre backs was going on for years until we went and signed Konate, because we knew Matip could get injured. And we relied, in the season we won the league, we relied on Joe Gomez and Van Dijk being fit and nigh enough perfect. Football's not like that. You cannot guarantee perfection. Hence why the one season we won the league was when we were perfect. The other season we've been great, but we haven't been able to be perfect because of A, signings, B, coaching, C, tactics, FSG, whatever you want to go and call it. Regardless, it's not been enough. So we're not criticising Klopp in terms of, oh yeah, Klopp's not done this for us, or do you know what I mean? Just because you've done something doesn't mean that you don't sit back and we might as well get Rafa Benitez in then. We should have just, after Brendan Rodgers, we should have got Rafa Benitez in because he won us the Champions League in the amazing fashion. We hadn't won anything in years before that. Do you know what I mean? So should get him in. Your thought process in this instance just doesn't make sense.
It's like saying you washed the dishes that one time this morning. Okay, well, you don't have to wash it for the rest of the day. Nah, my brother, you kind of need to be able to.
I ain't even washed the dishes for 2 days, G, so I can't even get into this discussion.
Look, it's as JJ said, like I'm like, there's not even much more to even add on that point to Assad. At the end of the day, it seems like it's this and Ish said the word earlier. This being grateful thing, I'm sorry, but in football, it does not work. It does not work. This being grateful to managers because of what they want.
No, but we can be grateful. We can be grateful. We are grateful for what he's done.
We are grateful. Sorry, yeah, we are grateful.
We can't go, just like KZ has said here, we can't follow somebody blindly now just because we're grateful.
Yeah, it's like, okay, cool. Fair enough. Yes. And I think you're all forgetting the key point. We did not win a quad. Stop talking about it, because we didn't win one. We won 2 trophies on penalties. We played so awful in those games anyway. Chelsea could have won that game regardless. Chelsea could have won that game. As Assad has said many a times, we won on penalties. So it's not like we were pulling up trees in these games. So again, the luck of the draw got us through these games. Could have gone either way. Fair enough. We were the ones who won. And I'm very happy that we won these 2 trophies. But again, we didn't win a quad. I don't care if you were a game away, if you were a goal kick away, if you were an offside away. The only thing that matters is actually doing it. In 10 years' time, I'm pretty sure no one's going to remember that Liverpool were on for a quad. Maybe on Premier League years on TV.
It was mad. But under that premise, we might as well go and just hail up Rodgers as one of our best ever managers, because we almost won the league.
And we'll always remember how good Milner's lactate tests were. We'll always remember that as well. So
all of these things, that's mad. All of these things, people are like, and it's only really, and I'm gonna use the word. It's only really top Reds and fans from rivals who always say this, like, oh, but you guys moan about this, that, and the third. I'm sorry, but my ambition is to win. I couldn't give 2 about how that actually happens. I don't care about where it happens, because the reality is we've spent, most of us here on this live right now, and most of you in the comment section, you've spent probably 90% of your footballing lives watching either Manchester United dominate or Chelsea dominate, and now we're watching Manchester City dominate. So when does it get to the point where Liverpool are allowed to dominate? Are we not even
going to be an 80s team? 70s and the 80s, we're going to be dominating until we get to the next 70s and 80s, and then we'll have to go, last century is when we dominate.
And the thing is, I'm not even sitting here from a position of like, oh yeah, you got to dominate like Sir Alex Ferguson. Come on, man, I'm not stupid. Like, we understand how football works, and we understand that it probably ain't going to work like that ever again. Do you get what I'm trying to say? Roms, I'm going to swear to God. But like it is one of those things where we look at Chelsea, for example. Chelsea, the way that Chelsea have obviously done business, like it or don't like it, the reality is they've been the most successful side in the last 20 years since Roman Abramovich came in. So whether you think that their way that they run their business, it's allowed them to be successful. Yes, in the last few years, they haven't been that successful, but that doesn't mean that it won't change. They've still picked up a Champions League. They've still picked up an FA Cup in this time of Liverpool, Manchester City supposedly dominating. Let me even rephrase that. In the time that Manchester City have been dominating, Chelsea have still been able to pick up a Champions League and an FA Cup in that period of time. Leicester City have also picked up an FA Cup. Leicester City have also won a Premier League. Again, when does it become the point where we start saying, okay, Liverpool have reached the pinnacle. Liverpool have reached a level whereby, as Ish said, we're not at when you were supposed to improve the team. So the year that we won the Premier League, instead of potentially getting in 1 or 2 players just to add to the squad, and then the next season, if you are then looking to, I think that was, the next season you're looking to let go of Ginny, okay, no worries. We've got adequate, and I do mean adequate enough replacement, so it's not going to be such a big hit. I'm not Ginny's biggest fan because I felt that I saw the best of him playing for Holland, but the reality is he was one of our most important players, just really down to the availability.
You don't talk about Genie like that.
Sorry, bro. Sorry, I apologize. But like, but you know what I mean? It's like we have, and people, whether you're going to agree or not, people are still sitting here telling me, yeah, we haven't replaced Ginny, brother. The guy left how long ago, and you're telling me we haven't replaced him? Does that not scream?
We have though. We've just brought in Artur on loan.
But again, we just brought him in. We didn't. This wasn't a signing of 2 years ago. This wasn't a signing when he just left. This was a signing we just brought in on the last day of the transfer window. So again,
they didn't even play for us yet. We didn't even see the kick.
We haven't even seen him play, so we don't even know if this guy's the replacement.
This is it. Yeah, this is what I'm saying. I'm like,
so again, it's like, guys, just please wake up and smell the coffee. If you are happy with the way things are run, and I saw Bogdan say, I don't trust that you can't listen to me. That's fine, because again, you know, if you're going to be deluded enough to think that this is the way forward to become a successful football club, that's on you. Do you know what I mean? I'm not going to wipe your tears for you. That's down to you to now, figure it out yourself. I've watched football long enough to see what success looks like. I also understand that football moves on with time, but I feel that everyone in this live, we kind of probably have an inkling at the bare minimum what success looks like at the bare minimum. Even though we're not into football, we don't work for any football clubs, we can probably say, all right, these are probably the tools that you need to become a successful football club. Now, the way the FSG are doing it is a successful business football club, 100%. And I will give them their flowers on that all the time. But on the footballing side, we've reached a level where we just peaked, and then that was it. I keep saying it, Liverpool Football Club are a highlight football club. They will give you moments. They will give you Champions League 05. They will give you Origi Barcelona. They'll give you, crazy games against Manchester City, and they'll give you all of these things. But if you're talking about sustainability, no, we haven't been a sustainable club like that, or sustainable winning club, since the 70s and 80s. We've been embarrassed. How can a top club go 32 years without winning a title? Are you not embarrassed to even say that out loud, that you as a top club, supposable top club, who had won the Premier League or won the Division 1 title the most, you went so long without winning it that another team was able to catch you up? Does that not embarrass you as a fan? It embarrasses me. And if it doesn't embarrass you, are you, as they like to ask me, are you a real fan? Are you a real fan? Does it not hurt you enough? It hurt me to know that the club went this long without winning a title. And even in the years that Klopp has been here, we've picked up 1 out of the available 8 that he could have potentially have won. I'm sorry, but that doesn't scream success. That just screams you're just here for the moments, and that's about it. So there needs to be improvement, not majorly. I'm not saying that we are some complete and utter, we're playing shit, but I'm not saying that we are genuinely a shit team, because we still obviously need players to come back and players to go back into form. But the reality is we are not, and I will keep repeating it, we are not a top club of that ilk. So when people understand that,
I gave him the Oprah treatment.
like that. But when people understand that, then we're maybe as a fan base we'll be able to move forward. But until such point, we're going to be stuck in this position. We're going to be in chats, and we're going to be saying to people, or people are going to be saying to us that we're a good team. You know, we can win the league title. I'm sorry, you're a team who's won the league title once in 32 years. You do not know how it is to win a league title. I'm sorry, you ain't got no clue how it is to win a league title. You've only done it once. City know how to win a league title. Chelsea know how to win a league title. United know how to win a league title. For Arsenal, cool, 3 Prems in 6 years. Again, if we had a record like that, no one is gonna start complaining at you. That's not even our record. I'm done with that.
Look, team news.
Go on, who is it? Are you fucking serious?
You lot cool, yeah? Safe. I'm out. That is mad.
The full team is
Go on.
Ali, Trent, Gomez, Van Dijk, Robbo, Fab, Milner, Elliott, Diaz, Salah, Bobby. It's not predictable though.
Yeah, I told you.
We're not predictable.
Can we just once just do something a little bit different? I know we done the 2 8s in the last game, but boy, like, what's going on? Trent has been.
That suggests to me that this is madness now. But this is madness now. This is like it's insanity. It's insanity. It's insanity.
It is insanity. Like,
what do you expect though, Jerry? What do we expect? At the end of the day, this is Bogdan. This is the manager that you love. You know, all these other people. This is the manager. This is your manager. This is the guy that you want us to follow blindly. This is this guy. Really, this guy who's doing this? Like, are you serious? Like, come on, man. I love Klopp, and listen, I was one of the biggest. So when we won the Premier League, and even when we won the Champions League, bro, I was on to, like, me and Klopp were like this. We were cool like this. But ever since we won that Premier League, he himself has just regressed as a coach anyway. But the players that we have also regressed, and we haven't improved, man. I'm sorry, but this is just, it's starting to get embarrassing, man. Honestly, so embarrassing. So embarrassing.
Do you know what, G? I had a little bit of fun planned for us, and it's just kind of sucked the energy out. Like, Milner starting again. Do you know what? I'm getting to a point now.
Why is Milner starting? I'm sorry, but why? Why have you got this old man starting again? Why? The brother is
not even funny, man. Jesus
away
Christ,
to Naples.
Actually not
away
funny.
to Naples. Come on, bro. This isn't even a joke. Like, I'm not even laughing. I'm not even busting joke, because this is just stupid now, bro. Come on, Milner, bro. Fuck off, bro. Like, why are you here?
But the way is, unless Klopp, is trying to like make a statement. You know, like, I don't know,
like to who? Like,
no, but to FSG, like saying, I wanted these players, you haven't given them to me, this is all I've got, so I'm going to run this into the ground, like some managers have done before.
Thing is, that only ends one way. You end up getting sacked. So it's not even
but that's my point. This is what I don't understand. This is something that I could see Mourinho doing and then getting sacked.
Thing is, though, with that one, I would rate it if Klopp from the jump came out this in the summer and said we need X, Y, Z. Yeah. But
Scott Parker.
Sorry.
Yeah. Like Scott Parker, you mean?
Yeah, but listen, Klopp's got more clout than Scott Parker. We weren't going to just get rid of Klopp like real quick. But you see how Jose, when they wouldn't decide a centre back, he was just like, "Yo, I've got smaller than these man. Like, give me something in it." I would respect that more. Klopp, bareface, came out and told us, listed Tyler Morton, bare man, Ox, Naby, everyone said we don't need midfielders. If he came out from the jump and said, "This is what I need. This is what I need. Give it to me," then I respect. I don't respect what he's doing now. Because if he is doing that, bro, the season started, the window's done. Why are you making statements now? Like that. This is business time. What are you waiting for? You're costing your own flipping legacy at the club. Like, and I can't even blame Milner like at this point, because he's trying it. I'm not seeing a player who's like down tools or he's not giving his all. But bro's tired. He's old.
Sorry. Before anyone even talks, I'm not blaming Milner per se, by the way, because obviously he doesn't pick himself. I'm not blaming Hendo for being picked. I'm blaming Klopp and Yinders, because they're the ones who pick the team, and they're the ones who obviously decide on who should be playing today, and etc. etc. Sorry, man.
Gee, what did I say earlier though? The same as John saying here. I told you Arthur will not see any minutes. We're not going to see him. Ben Davis.
It's just not a sign. It's not his signing, is it? It's not his signing. It's the club that I've seen him. Like, Klopp, I guarantee. You know what? I've just thought about it. I guarantee this is what's happened. Yeah. The club have come. He's wanted X player. They've told him we can't get X player, but we can get this, that. And he's acting like a old brat and said, no, I don't want it. Bellingham or nothing, whatever. And do you know what I mean? We're in for Nunes. We don't go and get him. You see Bissouma go somewhere. No, I don't want him. He's not the right fit. He's not the right player. And they've just acted and said, actually, you just need a body now. Like now you're crying to us saying, I've got nothing left. Like,
it's like you see when you used to go training shopping with your mum, you might ask for like Air Forces or something, and your mum's like, no, get the Skechers, get those. You're like, Mum, no, man, allow me. What are you doing? Just give me a better option. Eventually, you're just like, yeah, fuck it, I'll get the Reebok Classics or whatever. Like we've settled because we left it so long. So, literally the last day of the window. Like,
but you get the Reebok Classics, but you never wear them. That's what it is.
Never wear them.
You slap the Astros on. You do that to spite your mum. Now I'm wearing my Astros.
Yeah.
This is low. Listen, guys. All I can say, everyone in the strap in, because if this is a sample size for the rest of the season, strap in. This is going to be a long and bumpy ride.
Do people realize how good this Napoli team are as well? Like this Napoli team, second in Serie A.
They're second on top. Yeah, they're serious.
Second in Serie A. Not lost a game this season. Won 3, drawn 2. Like, this team know how to play football more than any Napoli side that we've come up against before. With this Liverpool team, wow.
Ash, can you get up Jared's comment quickly, please?
Well,
this one.
Yeah. This is what worries me as well. I remember this.
Bro, like I said, he's hit that ceiling. He has hit that ceiling.
And you know what? That ceiling's not even in terms of ability and stuff. He's spoken about how tired he's been. After the Borussia Dortmund whole situation, he went on a sabbatical and said, nah, man, I just need like a hiatus. I need a break. It's only because Liverpool came calling. He was like, I can't turn that down. If it was any other club, he wouldn't have. This is madness. This is madness.
And guys, before anyone even tries it in the comments, because I know people are probably saying, I can't see it now, but before anyone tries it, regardless of whether we win or not today, yeah, well, if we walk out of here with a victory, which will actually be a miracle because of that lineup is absolute dog shit. But if we walk out of here with a victory, again, it's not that we're going to turn around and be like, oh, like you can, people will be like, oh, but look what happened, Klopp, he won with the same lineup that you didn't want to see. It's not about that, bro. It's about the sheer fact that you're playing these flipping players that are either just rubbish or just don't make any sense in this team. Like,
Danny Lake, that is the greatest. I need to keep that. Can you just get that up as well? Re-signed or resigned? Jesus Christ. Anyway, Ash. Have you got some fun games?
You know what? I've got some fun. Let's forget about this. Let's get a bit of nostalgia in the building. So, I brought a game. Today. I'm not even... Yeah, in fact, we'll do this bit first because Klopp, obviously, he has signed some players. Let's give him credit for signing the amazing Nunes, the amazing Ramsey, who we've seen multiple times alongside Artur. We've got these 3. So I want to play a little game first, and then I've got another little challenge afterwards. Start bench sell. These 3 players. Klopp signings. Artur, Nunes, Carvalho. Who are you starting? Who are you benching? Who are you selling? We'll start with Ish.
You don't want to hear my answer. I'm starting Carvalho, benching Arthur, selling Nunes.
Woo! JJ.
Is this based on what our team needs? Or is this just
based
like what
on the way you feel right now about the squad? The way you feel right now. You can explain it as well if you want to.
Right. I start off because I need to see this brother play for my sanity.
Yeah.
I need to see some just minutes, seconds, something. I also feel we're desperate in the midfielder, so I'd start Arthur. Carvalho, I'd start him in terms of who's been better, of course, but he's young, so I'd probably sub him. And I'm sorry to say again, I've got to sell Nunes. Yes,
got to sell Nunes, mate. You got to sell Nunes. G.
What, G? Why are you pretending like it's a hard question? Man? I know what you're thinking already.
G's doing it. That's what he said.
I'm actually thinking exactly what Ish said, to be fair. I would have to start, I think, did you say start Carvalho?
Yeah.
Yeah, start Carvalho. I'm selling Nunes anyway, so start Carvalho, bench Arthur, sell Nunes.
Do you know why I did this, right? We've just let go of Sadio Mane. We've
Mhm.
brought in Darwin Nunes. Every one of us is saying, out of those three players, we've not even seen Artur play.
Exactly.
We'd sell.
What does that tell you about Nunes? What does that tell
I did a little bit. I did an Arteta then. If anyone's seen All or Nothing, you know when he like brings the little board out and he's going, I did this because if you are potato, you know, this is so I did a little bit of psychology on you there, but it's true. How many people in the comments like sell Nunes?
Look
Like
at
start all three. Jeez,
Yeah,
stress.
facts. I kind of hear that as well. Start all of
Like
them.
literally, we know people haven't got to the potential, but this is how bad it's got that we're asking for a £65 million signing to just like he's not showing us anything.
potential.
You've got
Bro,
to hit
I'm
the ground
sorry.
running in it.
Yeah, man, that's dead, man. I'm sorry, but for a club like Liverpool who don't even like spending big amounts of money, for you to then go out and spend big amounts of money on a guy who may or remember it's potential. We all know how that works. You might not actually reach your potential. Then what happens? You just
Are you saying Carroll settings?
Sorry,
Are
Carroll
you
saying
saying Carroll settings? Is that what you're saying?
I'm not saying anything. What I'm
Andy
saying is
settings.
that all I am saying is that for you to spend 65 million, for me, if you're going to spend that type of money, and again, I'm using this because Liverpool do not spend that kind of money. If we were Man City, then fine. But bro, that failed overhead kick against Everton had me going mad. It had me going mad. But for you to spend 65 million on a striker, and bearing in mind you kind of needed a striker, I expected you to get a better player. There are bare strikers that you could have got for less than that amount.
Did we need a striker? Like I'm looking at this.
No. Sorry.
If we said Mane, you are staying. I'm sorry. Like this is not a time for sentiment. You are staying one more year. Yeah. Jota, you carry on doing your thing.
That's mad.
Bobby, we'll get one more year out of you. That 68 million or whatever he dropped on him, bro, that could have been half of the Jude Bellingham money. And I know people are saying Dortmund didn't want to go in, whatever. How about we get in there before City go in for Haaland? How about that? How about we act proactive for a change and do that? Or how about we use that 68 million if you can't get Bellingham, go and get another midfielder, go get Barella. Because Inter are desperate for money. We could have got Barella for 68
I'm sorry,
million.
but how much was Lewandowski? How much was him? How much did he go to Barcelona?
It's a free. It's a free.
Mutual consent.
Imagine Lever. Imagine him.
But
even
he's too
if he
old.
just came off the bench.
He's too old. We can't sign someone of that age, brother. He's way better.
Can't sign someone that old to play Milner.
This was supposed to be fun.
Yes, G. Anyway, the fun part of the show. G, stop it. Just stop it right now, or else I'll stop your camera. Higher or lower? This is Champions League edition. This is fun. I know. Look at G's face. That smiles back. I like it, G. So this is Champions League edition. Everyone in the comments can get involved, but you three, you cannot look at the comments because they'll give you some help. It's you three against each other. Now, it's Champions League stats. So there's goals, there's appearances, there's cards, there's different things in there. Now, the rules of the game are, I'll give you a number to start with, and then I'll give you something else that's second. You've just got to tell me whether you think that number is higher than the one that's just been or whether it's lower. If you get it right, you get a point. If you don't get a point. It's that simple. All right? So, first up, Michael Owen. 16 appearances in the Champions League for Liverpool. Okay? 16 appearances. So, the number is 16. What I need you to tell me is Bobby Firmino, the amount of goals he has scored in the Champions League. Is it higher or lower than 16? We'll go G first.
Lower.
G's going lower. Ish.
I'm saying lower as well because I feel like Mo just broke the record and it was not that much more than 16. So yeah, I'm saying lower as well.
Lower. JJ.
I'm not going to copy these two. Higher.
JJ's gone higher. Do you know what? I feel like I need to get the sound effects out for this one. I feel like they've got to come out. So, G and Ish, you went lower and you are wrong.
How many
It's
did he got?
higher.
It's like
How
17 aside, isn't it?
It's 21.
For
So
Liverpool? Is that just for
Trust in
Liverpool in total?
Just for Liverpool.
Trust in Jesus. Trust in Jesus.
21. So there we go. 21 is the number. That's the amount of goals that Bobby Firmino has scored for Liverpool in the Champions League. So next, I want to know Jamie Carragher, yellow cards in the Champions League. Is it higher or lower than 21? We'll go JJ first.
Lower.
Ish.
Lower.
G.
Yeah, I'll go. No, hold on. Yeah, lower.
Lower.
You bottled it, G, man.
Shut up.
The correct answer is 8. It is lower. The correct answer is 8. It's lower. So we're on 8. It's 2-1-1 to JJ. Next question. Coutinho. So the number's 8. Coutinho. Total appearances in the Champions League for Liverpool. Is it higher or lower than 8? Coutinho. Ish can go first this time.
Can I talk through my method a little bit?
Yeah.
So we only played one season in the Champions League with him. That was 17-8. And he left. He left in the Jan, which means we only would have played the 6 group games.
No.
So it's got to be lower. It's got to be lower.
Lower? Okay.
It's got to be lower.
G.
Remember when we finished 13-14, we played in the Champions League the next season, and then he would have played in that season that you just said as well. So I'm gonna say higher. I'm gonna go higher.
Oh wait, was he?
No, they're not changing it, bro. You're done.
I'm just trying to think. No, I'm still going lower, you know.
So Issue's gone lower, G's gone higher. So take your pick, JJ.
I've gone lower because I remember Brendan Rodgers did a madness one game, and all at Real Madrid, the bad boys didn't play. All the bad boys. Gerrard was off
Gerrard on the bench.
Barini starting that. Yeah, it was lower, man. It's got to be lower.
Okay, we've got Carragher's yellow cards was 8. Coutinho has made 10 appearances. Come on, he's back in the game. It's 2-1. So G's back in the game. Next one, we've got Real Madrid is the topic. How many times have Liverpool faced Real Madrid in the Champions League? Is it higher or lower than 10? JJ, you're first.
Are you including like just the European Cup that it was called before the Champions League, or just
Champions League?
Just Champions League. So just from the reform. Lower.
G.
What's the number?
The number's 10.
Lower.
Ish.
It's got to be lower. It's got to be lower. Yeah, lower.
All 3 of you correct. It is lower, which means the score is 3-3-2. So we're on 8. So the number is 8. We've got a few left. The number's 8. The next topic is Crouch. How many Champions League appearances has Peter Crouch made for Liverpool? Is it higher or lower than 8? We'll start with G.
Lower.
G's gone lower. Ish, higher or lower than 8?
So he came in what? 06. We didn't even get that far. It was the number 8.
Yeah. I love this game.
I'm saying lower.
She's going lower.
No.
JJ.
Yeah, fucking lower. Yeah, lower.
Can you repeat the question, please, Ash?
Them
Okay.
one.
The number is 8. How many Champions League appearances Peter Crouch has made for Liverpool? Is it higher or lower than 8?
Lower.
All 3 of you have gone lower. The correct answer is 30 appearances.
Right, when did he make 30 appearances?
That's what I thought. I
Do
was
you know
like,
what's
that
mad?
can't be true.
Do you know what's mad? I thought to
Mad.
myself when I said we were in the Champions League. Obviously, we bought him the year after we won it, right?
Yeah.
He was at Liverpool for 3 years.
He was there when we got to the final again.
Exactly. I was thinking 20, but I bottled it because of these guys.
Oh, you know what?
Because
Because
Managerial.
that 07, he actually played quite a lot, and he got dropped in the final.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. We bottled it. We bottled it.
30.
So 30. 30 is the number, look. 30. 30 is the number. The next topic is Mo Salah, the Egyptian king. Champions League goals. Is it higher or lower than 30? We'll go JJ first.
Ooh. 30, did you say?
Yep, 30 is the number.
You know what? I'm doing it. I'm trusting in Salah higher, man.
Higher. I love the comments, by the way. There's so many comments flying in. I'm going to look back after this to see if you got any right. We'll shout you out as well. G, higher or lower? 30 is the number. Mo Salah Champions League goals.
G's on his phone cheating, man.
Oh,
See his face.
I just saw his eyes. I just saw the reflection in his eyes, man. It was a Google.
30.
You know the answer already, G, man. Just be honest.
Lower.
Gone lower. Ish.
Don't ask me why, but I know he broke the record like last season, and for some reason the number 28 is sticking out of my head.
Big man thing. That's the same number that popped into my head.
Because I remember, I swear I see the graphic. Gerrard 28.
Yeah, I feel like Ash put it up on one time. I think, okay, I'm sure it wasn't that.
I know he didn't really bag too much towards the end of the Champions League. Like he didn't bag in the final. Did he bag in? Who did he play in the semi? Villarreal. Don't think he bagged in the semi. Don't think he bagged in the quarters. You know what? I'm going lower. I reckon he's on 29.
Ish has gone lower. So JJ, you've got higher. It's 3-3-2 at the minute. The correct answer is.
Oh my God!
What is going on, man?
Trust in Jesus. Trust in
JJ's
Jesus.
took the lead. It's 4-3-2. There are 3 questions left. So you've got to pull this out the bag now, Ish. Come on. The next one. So
in the mud.
The number is 34. That's how many goals Mo Salah has scored. The next category is Jamie Carragher again. Jamie Carragher's had 91 Champions League appearances, but how many of them were as captain? Is it higher or lower than 34? We'll go with G first.
Jeez, on the flipping phone again, man.
These guys have got the answer wrong, so how can I be on the phone?
That was a tactical move, G.
Lower.
G is going lower. Ish.
Sorry, what was the number? Whoa, what was the number again?
34.
The number's 34.
Okay,
So Mo Salah's goals, 34. Carragher's had 91 appearances. How many were as captain? Is it higher or lower than 34?
Lower.
I don't think a third of his appearances were as captain. I don't think so. And even when, because we still had Sami Hipper in that lot there as well, so we weren't even always vice in that. So what did you say? Did you say lower? Isn't it?
You said lower.
Oh boy, I'm gonna have to say lower as well, but I'm not confident, bro.
Issue's gone lower. JJ, lower or higher?
I'm going higher, lad.
He's
Get
on
out of
higher,
the-
lad.
Yeah, I'm getting tired.
Would you be 35 or some shit?
Yeah, exactly.
The correct answer. 12. They're back in the game. Game on. It's now 4-4-3. This is anyone's game to take. There are 2 questions left. That's
Ish
it.
could come
2
and steal it,
questions.
boy.
The number's 12. The next category is Diogo Jota. Champions League goals. Is it higher or lower than 12? Diogo.
Hold on. For Liverpool or
For Liverpool.
for every? Okay. No, I'm just making sure.
So let's go with. I feel like Ish hasn't been first for a while.
12, yeah? So
Yeah,
he got the
12.
hat trick against Atalanta. He bagged the... Who else has he bagged against? Bro, he was injured for a lot of that 2021. Last season, he bagged against AC Milan, I want to say. Bro, I think he's got like 6. I'm saying lower.
Ish has gone lower than 12. JJ.
Lower.
JJ's gone lower. G.
Ease.
Lower. Well, I'm not even confident with that.
He bottled it because he looked out.
Yeah. I wasn't trying to
You want to say higher, innit? You want to say higher.
Actually, because I said it so quick. Because I said it so quick, he was like,
Yeah, that's why he changed it, innit?
I was trying to do mental maths than that.
The score is 4-4-3, right? The score's 4-4-3. 12 was the number of Carragher's games as captain. Jota has scored 5
Yeah.
Okay.
Champions League goals. So it's 5-5-4 going into the last question. I'm going to make this one double points just because if Ish gets it right, then he could win. It's anyone's game. Anyone's game going into this last one. So it's 5-5-4. The last one is Divock Origi, G's favourite ever Liverpool player.
Listen, G can't even get points for this. Listen, G's not allowed to answer this question.
Divock Origi, has he scored more or less than Diogo Jota in the Champions League? The number is 5. Is it higher or lower? JJ.
Lower.
JJ's gone lower.
No, lower.
Lower than 5.
Lower.
G.
Why is he smiling? I don't understand. Like, why are you smiling?
I smile. I'm happy. Go ahead,
What's the number?
5.
Higher.
G's gone higher. So there's going to be a winner. We know there's going to be a winner at least because they've gone different. Ish. Higher or lower?
I'm starting to doubt myself because a lot of my shouts have been mad, but for some reason, I feel like Divock's only got 4 Champions League goals. He's obviously got the brace in the Barca game, scored in the final, and I think he might have won just somewhere random else. But I feel like he's not scored that many in the champs. I'm going lower as well.
It has gone lower as well. The correct answer is...
Yes!
Whoa!
Hold that, G. Hold that for Lord Divock. Hold that.
The champion of today's game is JJ, the Jerry James Show.
Man's doing the best. I say less.
You had it there, G. You had it, but it ended up 7.
It would be the player that I hate the most.
Yes,
that would
exactly.
come back to bite me.
Justice.
G's hatred has grown now for Divock Origi. Before I go to Jerry for his winner's speech, let's give him a massive... Love it. So many people in the comments, it's mad. I can't even believe how many. Assad saying congratulations to Chris Brown.
Oh my God.
Oh my God.
Oh no, you guys even got the missus laughing in the back.
That is mad.
Yeah. silly.
But a lot of people are giving loads of answers. Appreciate. Do you know what? Everyone in the comments, big yourselves up today because you've stayed in for the majority. You've been involved in the chat. You've been involved in the fun. So please, big yourselves up. Do you know what? I'm not even going to say go and hit the likes because you deserve a little rest after being with us all this time. You probably have anyway. So we appreciate you. JJ, winner's speech. Have you got one?
Yeah, I just wanted to say thank you to the family, for friends, to situation. Jesus Christ, above all, it's important, progression. We improve every day, and we look forward to the next game.
We look forward to the next game. Appreciate it. You know what?
G's fuming. I can tell G's absolutely fuming right now. I can see it.
Nah, I'm just sitting there thinking like of all the people that would fuck me over, it would be
I know.
Origi.
That's what you're fuming about. Not coming last. The fact that
Yeah.
Lord Divock himself, the GOAT.
JJ, I feel like we need to see this at some point. So let's make sure that we get this little. We call G the TikTok sensation. Maybe JJ could be the
This
one.
is what I'm saying, bro.
The TikTok sensation.
Like Oxlade Chamberlain and that. Gonna be doing some dances.
Oh man. The winner gets this though, Mark A gets a copy of Intensity. That's for the loser, isn't it? That's for the loser. But do you know what? It's cheered me up that last bit of the show. I can't even remember the lineup now that we've done that. So we're 45 minutes out. It's been a long one. It's been an hour and 45 minutes. But make sure you're checking these three guys out, please. Twitter, TikTok, Instagram, all over everywhere. YouTube for the Jerry James Show. Please check them all out. You three, it's been an absolute pleasure. Everyone in the comments, you've been on fire. But until next time, as we always do, you'll never walk alone. Come on, you Reds. Peace.